Hello and welcome to this revision podcast on medieval medicine. Now the medieval period is between 476 AD, which is the end of the Roman Empire, and the Renaissance period from around 1450 AD. You can split the medieval period into two distinct ages. Up to 1066 you get the Dark Ages, and then from 1066 to 1450 are called the High Middle Ages. Let's have a look at the Dark Ages first. This is when the Saxons and Vikings are coming into Britain, taking over, and they had lords that owned serfs in lots of different kingdoms throughout Britain. For example, Mercia and Wessex and Northumbria. Communications at this point were difficult, and many could not even read or write, so ideas spread really slowly. There were some monasteries which kept the old Roman and Greek books, but many were lost in Britain, unlike in the Middle East where they kept works on Galen and Hippocrates and studied them still. Their technology was very basic, especially if you compare it to the Romans. Life expectancy was extremely low, although they did have some herbal remedies, and this was sometimes used as part of magic with druids or sorcerers. Willow, for example, the leaves of the willow tree were used to cure headaches. By 1066, Christianity had become the prevalent religion, and the Catholic Church's authority dominated ideas. They established universities. For example, one of the first ones was Oxford in 1167, and they forbade dissection and encouraged people to believe what they said without question. All those people were punished if they questioned it. There's a lot of superstitious ideas about medicine continued, including the ones to do with religion. Essentially, disease was seen as a punishment from God, so there was no point investigating what caused it. In this period, kings became more powerful in the High Middle Ages, and that meant that trade and communications developed. England became one country. However, towns grew bigger, which meant more public health problems there. By 1250, much of the ancient Greek and Roman works and the books by Galen and Hippocrates had been brought back into Britain, partly due to the church encouraging people to go to the Middle East on crusades. This is an accidental benefit of religion in medicine in the medieval times. Medical training was all done by universities, which were all run by the church, where a butcher or some such pointed at a body or drawing of a body, and the lecturer read from Galen's book. They loved Galen because they said he said that one God created the body and fitted it together perfectly. Even though Galen wasn't a Christian, they liked this idea, did the Catholic Church. Also, his writings were old like the Bible, and you couldn't criticise old writing, otherwise it's one step away from criticising the Bible. Only Padua University trained doctors on the jobs. The other universities did not. Some newer writing was used, like the Canon of Medicine by Avicenna and Rhazes from the Middle East, but essentially it was all about Galen and Hippocrates. Now, not everybody was the same in the Middle Ages. Some people thought that disease was caused by some things, and different people believed that disease was caused by different things. These included a common one, the four humours. But also they believed it was demons that caused you to get ill, bad smells, astrology, such as the position of the stars, even Jewish people, and many more. But most of these were believed to be ultimately caused by God punishing sin. So, to try and prevent themselves or cure themselves, they often went on pilgrimages to holy places like shrines. Or they prayed harder. Or at the time of the Black Death, they even whipped themselves in the streets. These people were known as flagellants. People didn't trust doctors. Doctors tended to test weed to diagnose disease. They tested it 3 times. Once when it was fresh out, once when it cooled a little bit, and once when it was fully cold. And by testing it, I mean looking at it, smelling it, possibly even tasting it. You might even have to put on a tray for the doctor to look at. But most cures involve the balancing of the 4 humours. For example, purging you to make you puke, or even give you an enema. If you don't know what that is, don't Google it. Herbal remedies were also used. These are local plants mostly, but more and more foreign ones as trade grew between the different medieval countries. Most of these did actually work. Bleeding was done also, to tie in with the 4 humours, with leeches, or sometimes they just cut people's veins with special tools. Apothecaries sold these herbal medicines, but then again so did quacks. And quacks were people who would just sell you something that was no use to try and make a quick bit of dosh. People had silly superstitions, buying charms and holy relics to protect themselves, and these often were got from the quacks as well. Surgery was done by barbers or anyone who had a knife, and these people were not trained at universities, and women could actually become surgeons. And at this point, all midwives were also women. Men weren't allowed anywhere near the birth. However, because of the amount of war in medieval times, there made lots of progress in surgery. Lots of new instruments and implements were used. Wine was used as an antiseptic, and mandrake or hemlock, which are 2 different things by the way, were used as anaesthetic. There was some internal surgery done, but it was very dangerous because they had no idea about dirt and germs and all that sort of stuff. Trepanning was still even done for things like epilepsy. Public health was pretty bad in the medieval times. There were no sewers. The Roman ones had been left to go to ruin. The towns are filthy. There's rubbish and poo on the streets. Houses themselves were even made of dung, amongst other things. There were many rats, many more lice and fleas as well. And the water that you got to drink, and well, I was going to say washing, but they didn't really. The water was taken from near to cesspits, which are big pits of poo. And the fact that there are animals all over around the streets, or not so much roaming, being dead in the streets, they caused problems whether they were dead or alive. But medieval people did know about cleanliness and having a good diet, and that would keep you healthy. Cesspits were cleared by these people called gong farmers, who then sold the poo to the peasants in the countryside. And the kings did pass laws trying to clear up the streets, and they did often have bathhouses, not like the Romans ones, but they did have bathhouses. Although there was no police, so it was difficult to enforce any laws that the king did put in there. There were fines for punishment, but often you never got caught. By 1200, towns had improved a bit because they'd built stone foundations at the bottom and stone cesspits, so there was less likely for you to get poo seeping in. Monasteries at this time did have sewers, and they had other public health systems to keep themselves quite healthy. Lords in their big mansions or castles even would have baths maybe 2 times a year. And hospitals are built. For example, St Bartholomew's or St Bart's in London. These looked after the poor as well as the sick. You would have to go to prayers if you were in there, and people who were too ill weren't allowed in. There were also nunneries and monasteries and almshouses run by the church to help look after the sick. But none of them really treated you. At the very least, so medical books were kept safe there during wars or times of trouble, etc. Right, that's the end of the revision podcast on medieval medicine. I'll see you next time for one on Renaissance.